my friends. We're up to number 994 on my list of my 1,000 all time favorite songs. We're going to call this kind of a reaction video. I'm going to talk to you about the song, give you the facts and figures on it, when it was recorded, how it did on the charts, and all that good stuff. And then I'll play the video for you to enjoy. Because I kind of hate when they interrupt it and jump in, and some people say some crazy things, some crazy comments. I'm just going to give you all the info on the song, and then I'll play the video and you decide whether you like the song or not. This one I think is a great choice. It is a classic. It is Bob Dylan's Rainy Day Women, number 12 and 35. And I'm going to give you the whole story on this song right now. All right. Rainy Day Women, number 12 and 35, is a song by American singer-songwriter Bob Dylan. It is the opening track of his 1966 album Blonde on Blonde. It was initially released as a single in April of 1966. It reached number 7 in the UK and number 2 on the US chart. Rainy Day Women, recorded in the Nashville studio of Columbia Records, features a raucous brass band backing track. The song's title does not appear anywhere in the lyrics, and there has been much debate over both the meaning of the title and the recurrent chorus, "Everybody Must Get Stoned." This has made the song controversial, being labeled by some commentators as a drug song. Here's the background and composition. The song is notable for its brass band arrangement and the controversial chorus, "Everybody Must Get Stoned." Al Kooper, who played keyboards on Blonde, recalled that when Dylan initially demoed the song to the backing musicians in Columbia's Nashville studio, producer Bob Johnson suggested that it would sound great Salvation Army style. When Dylan queried how they would find horn players in the middle of the night, Charlie McCoy, who played trumpet, made a phone call and summoned a trombone player. The song is essentially a simple blues chord progression in the key of F. The parts played by the trombone, tuba, piano, bass, drums, and tambourine remain practically the same in all the verses. Much laughter and shouting in the background accompanies the song, mixed down to a low volume level, and Dylan laughed several times during his vocal delivery. The track was recorded in Columbia Music Row Studios in Nashville in the early hours of March 10th, 1966. In the account of Dylan biographer Howard Sonis, the chaotic musical atmosphere of the track was attained by the musicians playing in unorthodox ways and in unconventional instruments. McCoy switched from bass to trumpet. Drummer Kenny Buttery set up his bass drum on two hardback chairs and played them using the timpani mallet. Wayne Moss played bass, and Sturecki played Al Kooper's organ. Cooper played a tambourine. Producer Bob Johnson recalled, "All of us walking around yelling, playing, and singing." Sean Willents, who listened to the original studio tapes to research his book on Dylan, wrote that at the end of the recording of Rainy Day Women, producer Bob Johnson asked Dylan for the song's title. Dylan replied, "A long-haired mule and a porcupine here." Johnson commented, "It's the only one time I ever heard Dylan really laugh going around the studio, marching in that thing." Soon quoted musician Wayne Moss recalling that in order to record Rainy Day Women, Dylan insisted the backing musicians must be intoxicated. A studio employee was sent to an Irish bar to obtain leprechaun cocktails in Sonis' account. Moss, Hargus Pig Robbins, and Henry Strzelecki claimed they also smoked a huge amount of marijuana and got pretty wiped out. Sonis stated that some musicians, including McCoy, remained unintoxicated. This version of events has been challenged by Willents' study of the making of Blonde on Blonde. According to Willents, both McCoy and Cooper insisted that all the musicians were sober and that Dylan's manager, Albert Grossman, would not have permitted pot or drink in the studio. In support of this account, Willents pointed out that 3 other tracks were recorded that night in the Nashville studio, all of which appeared on the final album. In Robert Shelton's biography of Dylan, Shelton said he was told by Phil Spector that the inspiration for the song came when Spector and Dylan heard the Ray Charles song "Let's Go Get Stoned" on a jukebox in Los Angeles. Spector said they were surprised to hear a song that free, that explicit, referring to its chorus of getting stoned, as an invitation to indulge in alcohol or narcotics. This anecdote may be questioned because the Ray Charles song was released in April 1966 after Rainy Day Women was recorded. Both the Coasters and Ronnie Milsap released versions in 1965. After recording Blonde on Blonde, Dylan embarked on his 1966 world tour. At a press conference in Stockholm on April 28, 1966, Dylan was asked about the meaning of his new hit single, Rainy Day Women. Dylan replied the song was about the cripples and Orientals and the world in which they live. It's a sort of Mexican thing, very protest, and one of the protestiest of all things I've protested against in my protest years. Shelton stated that as the song rose up the charts, it became controversial as a drug song. Shelton says the song was barred by some radio stations in the United States and from airplay in Great Britain. He pointed out that Time magazine on July 1st, 1966 wrote, "In the shifting multi-level jargon of teenagers, to get stoned does not mean to get drunk, but to get high on drugs. A rainy day woman, as any junkie knows, is a marijuana cigarette." Dylan responded to the controversy by announcing during his May 27th, 1966 performance at the Royal Albert Hall in London, "I have and never will write a drug song." In terms of the critics, well, Cashbox described the song as a rollicking, honky-tonkus blueser, essayed in a contagious, good-natured style by the songster. According to Dylan critic Clinton Halen, Dylan was determined to use a fairly lame pun, the idea of being physically stoned for committing a sin, as opposed to being stoned on powerful medicine, to avoid being banned on the radio. Given its Old Testament connotations, Halen argued that the Salvation Army band backing becomes more appropriate. Halen further suggests that the song's title is a biblical reference taken from the book of Proverbs, which contains a huge number of edicts for which one could genuinely get stoned. He suggested that the title Rainy Day Women number 12 and 35 refers to Proverbs chapter 27 verse 15 in the King James Bible. Continual dropping in a very rainy day and a contentious woman are alike. Dylan critic Andrew Muir suggested a sense of paranoia suggested by the recurring phrase, "they'll stone you," is a reference to the hostile reaction of Dylan's audience to his new sound. Dylan was being stoned by audiences around the world from moving to rock from folk. Who also suggested the seemingly nonsensical verses of Rainy Day Women can be heard as allusions to social and political conflicts in the United States. For Muir, "they'll stone you when you're trying to keep your seat" evokes the refusal of black people to move to the back of the bus during the civil rights struggle. For Muir, "they'll stone you when they say you are brave, they'll stone you when you sit down in your grave," reminds listeners that Dylan also wrote Masters of War and other anti-militarism songs that mourn the waste of young men being sent off to be maimed or killed. Muir quoted a comment Dylan made to New York radio host Bob Fast in 1986. "Everybody must get stoned is like when you go against the tide. You might in different times find yourself in an unfortunate situation, and so to do what you believe in sometimes, some people will just take offense to that. You can look through history and find that people have taken offense to people who come out with a different viewpoint on things." So yeah, there's a lot to be said about what the song means and what it's about. It may just be a simple thing, or it may be way more complicated than just a simple "everybody must get stoned" idea, So as for the charts, the song reached number 2 on the Billboard Hot 100 the week of May 21st, 1966, and was kept out of the top spot by the Mamas and Papas Monday, Monday. It also reached number 7 on the UK singles chart. Unlike Dylan's previous 6-minute hit single, Like a Rolling Stone, the single edit of Rainy Day Women 12 and 35 was significantly shorter than the original album version, omitting the third and final verse. So looking at other countries, it reached number 17 in Australia, it reached number 3 in Canada, number 9 in the Netherlands, number 13 in New Zealand. And for the year, on the Billboard Hot 100, it ranked number 82 for 1966. And Cashbox, it ranked at number 67. Now, cover versions of the song, did a cover version of Bob Johnson, producer, along with several musicians from the Dylan recording session, recorded it without Bob Dylan. And then the Beatles sang a few lines of Rainy Day Women. Actually, John Lennon sings the line, "Everybody Must Get Stoned," near the end of the second take of "I've Got a Feeling" during the Apple Rooftop concert on January 1969. And in 2006, Sammy Hagar and Warburitas released a cover on his album "Living It Up." The hip-hop group Cypress Hills did sample it on their 1995 song "Everybody Must Get Stoned." I hope they paid Bob for that. I think they did. Alright, so that's pretty much the rundown what the song's about. It was kind of obviously a little controversial at the time, but it was controversial times in 1966 for sure. Alright, now the other thing I wanted to mention is actually that drum beat was influenced Napoleon XIV on his big novelty hit "They're Coming to Take Me Away, Ha Ha," which came out a few months later and actually almost did as good as Rainy Day Women. It reached number 3 on the charts until it was nationwide banned because of the idea that it kind of made fun of retarded people in some way. So they pulled it off the radio and the record stores as it was in the top 5 of the charts. So that's pretty interesting too. It kind of had that same Salvation Army kind of drum beat in the background. It wasn't an exact copy off the song. They actually was recorded in a different studio, but it was very much influenced by Rainy Day Women. Anyway, alright, so now I'm going to play the video. I hope you enjoy it. It's going to have the lyrics on the screen, so if you need to follow along. Hopefully the copyright gods don't block it. If they do, I'll just put it as a link on this video. Alright, enjoy. Peace and love.
Stone you when you're trying to be so good. They'll stone you just like they said they would. They'll stone you when you're trying to go home. They'll stone you when you're there all alone. But I would not feel so all alone. Everybody must get stoned. They'll stone you when you're trying to keep your seat. They'll stone you when you're walking on the floor. They'll stone you when you're walking through the door. But I would not feel so all alone. Everybody must get stoned. They'll stone you when you're at the breakfast table. They'll stone you when you are unable. They'll stone you when you're trying to make a buck. They'll stone you and then they'll say good luck. Yeah, but I would not feel so all alone. Everybody must get stoned. your car. They'll stone you when you're playing your guitar. Yes, but I would not feel so all alone. Everybody must get stoned. All alone. They'll stone you when you are walking home. They'll stone you and then say they are brave. They'll stone you when you're sent down